What's up guys, it's Lord Botha here with another video, and nobody is buying consoles anymore. Okay, yes, that is a very sensationalist and hyperbolic way to take this headline. But I'm sure that some people are saying it, and there is some truth to it, although in general, bad business practices are what's to blame for what's going on here, rather than disinterest in consoles in general. What am I all talking about? Well, as the headline says, video game hardware sales fell 13% in May of 2025. This comes to us from Insider Gaming. The article states video game hardware sales fell for the 5th month in a row in May 2025, continuing a trend of gamers not spending money on consoles or accessories. According to the latest data from Circana, I think that's how you say it, general video game hardware sales fell 13% year over year in the United States, while accessory sales fell 6% year over year. As for a breakdown of the numbers, PlayStation 5 was the best-selling console in terms of both dollars and units sold, and actually grew by 3%. I don't know if they're counting the PS5 Pro in there or whatever. If they do, well, that would make sense, seeing that it was a new console release, despite the fact that it might be, a little bit of a scam. The Xbox Series X fell 30% year over year, while the Nintendo Switch dropped a whopping 44% compared to May of 2024. Well, yeah, duh. The Nintendo Switch 2 was coming out. Who's gonna buy a Nintendo Switch right before the Switch 2 comes out? Why do you think Nintendo held on to the release date of the Switch 2 for so long? They didn't want to lose out on Switch 1 sales. In all, the article states when looking at full year-to-date sales, hardware sales are down 26% compared to the first 5 months of 2024. Accessory sales are down 12% year-to-date. So what does all that mean? People are buying less consoles, less controllers, less gimmicks, like the camera for the Nintendo Switch 2. And why are they doing this? Maybe the console craze is over. Consoles as a platform is dying. People just aren't interested in them anymore. PlayStation fanboys for sure are going to come out and say, well, ours actually grew a little bit, even in this down period. So people just don't want Xboxes anymore. And then they'll go make out with their PS5s. PC gamers will say, yes, PC Master Race. We just have better, more interchangeable hardware. PC is the future. More and more people are getting comfortable with PC. So who needs those dirty consoles anyway? And while yes, people are getting more comfortable with PC gaming, the truth is, pricing is really to blame for the decline in hardware sales. Because all these companies, PlayStation, Xbox, and especially Nintendo, who started this whole thing, upped all their console prices this year. Even last-gen consoles. And they tried to blame it on a myriad of things. Inflation, tariffs, production costs. And while there are arguments to be made whether or not any or all of those had some kind of impact on the actual cost of producing these systems, and no, I don't think it actually had that much of an impact as they like to say it does. The truth of the matter is that consoles, which were, at one time, a cheaper introductory way to get into gaming, as opposed to spending $850, $1,000 on a gaming PC, if not incredibly much more. Consoles now are approaching that $800 mark, at which point, why wouldn't you just buy yourself a low-level gaming PC? So when you look at bang for your buck and actually compare specs, buying consoles, you're actually buying inferior products at nearly the same cost now as a superior product, a gaming PC. Or at least a comparable product as a low-end gaming PC that you can, at certain points, upgrade. Basically, these price increases have made console gaming a luxury activity when it was never supposed to be that. It was supposed to be a cheap alternative, a hobby, a fun way to spend time that wasn't going to break your bank account. But now it has with these price increases. And so less and less people are buying gaming hardware as frequently. Let's put it this way. kids aren't getting PS5s and Nintendo Switches and Xbox or whatever for their birthdays anymore. They're getting them, if they're lucky, for Christmas, which means that people are saving up money to actually spend on those things. So you're going to have more bulk sales towards the end of the year, and we're at the beginning of the year. And even then, I feel like you're going to have less hardware sales just because of the price increases. If you haven't noticed, everything's going up in the economies as well. And when they don't have as much disposable income, they're not going to spend money on even hobby items, let alone what you've made into leisure items with your price increases. But yeah, I would expect these hardware numbers to actually get worse and continue to decline. PlayStation fanboys are going to tout the fact that their numbers went up a little bit, very minusculely, and are probably at some point going to decline. And Xbox has fallen off a cliff, though to be honest, if you haven't noticed, Xbox is transferring and changing more over to a multi-platform game distributor, an actual service-based company, rather than an actual console. And Nintendo is doing whatever the hell Nintendo wants to do. Who knows? Nintendo could read this news and tomorrow be like, you know what we need to do? We need to up the prices more. But this is just basic economics, man. Anybody who's seen any kind of restaurant, like refurbishment shows or rescue shows, Kitchen Nightmares, Restaurant Impossible, all that, knows comparing this industry to that industry, one of the big ways people can fail is that when they start to see a decline in customers is to raise prices to try to make more money off of the customers they already have. When in reality, what that does is drive customers who can't afford to eat at those places out because you've priced them out. They can't afford to eat there anymore. Just like you're driving out customers from buying your consoles and your products by raising the prices and now they can't afford them. Because people do have thresholds that you can't break. And once you break those certain thresholds, it just becomes too expensive and they're not going to buy it. And something tells me that $700 Xboxes is probably that threshold. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it. We'll talk to you again later.